Kenya, or even in Kabare, and you will never get to visit this community.
Maybe we have lost the speaker.
We've lost the speaker.
I thought I'd lost myself.
Don't you worry.
Okay.
Don't you worry. You could be having an internet connectivity issue. But by his name to Sikwere will kusingula in a little while. Just
Kyokka omwana omusogo ono kitakule kansubire toyidda kwekweka embalala eyo wadde kuyiddayo busoga.
Rotarian Frederick, you can look for him and try to confirm.
He can assist him to kusungwire the real problem.
Who gave back to these poor networks?
But meanwhile, Corporation President, we want to welcome you from the peace concert. We saw you representing just very well as the break.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you everyone who attended the peace concert. It was awesome.
Alikuida.
Ajat Safina.
Wanji, my dear.
Eji is the best man. If you didn't know, the best man to the Chabazinga.
Eji Kibedi. Eji Kibedi cannot be the best man.
No, Eji Kitakule.
Eji Kitakule. Oh, and that is, I can see the American height in Busoga. Yeah.
So, Chabazinga bumwidi no.
But nange tusangaire ino. Eji Kitakule, let us not make fun as Tuswingire is coming. When he comes in immediately, we stop chatting. But all in all, we want to thank
now I'm sure. Wazira buzibu. Kitakule tuida kutyama ku mwanje wene.
Wazira buzibu. Tudde mu maiso.
Then imagine
am I back?
Yes, AG to Singwiri
welcome back. Okay, welcome
and
back.
I knew you will be back. And now that you're back, please carry forward.
How did I get lost?
Welcome back.
I've been talking to myself. My apologies. I think it's my network. I don't know where I lost you from, but I will start from here. So, dear Rotarians, yes, dear Rotarians, we said we continue to transform our communities on a daily basis. We give on a daily basis. And this month of November is the Rotary Foundation month, and all roads will be leading to Kabera Country Club on 25th to celebrate our giving, to celebrate the work and the service that we have done in our communities and to people across the world. So we want to continue doing this, to change a life, to impact on a community that we probably will never go to. How do we feel If we change the life of a child in Bangladesh, a child in India, we save a mother in South Africa, we change a community in Brazil, or even change a community in Bundubujo, in those places where you will never go to, or helping an elderly, the sick, the mothers that you will never meet at any point in your life. And that's what makes us Rotarians. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes Rotary Foundation a different service organization. So when you give to the foundation transforms your Rotary giving into service projects that changes the lives of people, not only in our district, not only in our communities where our club-based services are, but we change the lives of people all over the world. And that gives us a daily motivation to wake up, work, and serve as Rotarians. Because together, we can make lives better anywhere in the world. We want to make the world a better place for you, for me, for our children, and the generations to come. We want to leave our communities in a better shape than we found it. We want to hand over a world of peace, a world where the environment is protected, a world that is beautiful, a world that the future generation will say, yes, the past Rotarians made the world a better place for us. And we can only do that, dear Rotarians, by giving to the foundation. Ashclamp famously said that we should not live for ourselves only, but for the joy in doing good for the others. And so it is with the Rotary Foundation. We want to do good to the world. And of course, we do that by giving. Did you know that for the past Rotary year, the foundation was able to disburse over 478 district grants, different districts across the world. We have been able to utilize 207 disaster-related grants. Isn't that amazing? And look at this. We have been able to utilize over 1,199 global grants across the world. And last Rotary year, where the foundation was able to disburse one program of scale worth over $2 million. And all this is done because of your giving. We want to thank the Rotarians who are on call this morning and all the Rotarians in our district who have continued to support the foundation in many different ways. And even in ways, those small ways that no one else will ever understand. So there are many ways how we can continue to give to the foundation. And gifts to the Rotary Endowment Fund ensure that the future Rotarians will have resources they need to design and implement long-lasting projects every single year. This is done by preserving an investment. Part of your contribution is invested, and part of it is spent now, and the other is saved for the future programs. That's our Rotary Endowment Fund, which any Rotarian can support. The other support that we have continued to give as Rotarians is towards the Polio Plus. We know that for every child, including ourselves, we have been able to grow up as healthy humans because of a vaccine that someone donated. And for the past 30 years or so, the Rotary Foundation has pumped in millions of dollars into the Polio Eradication Fund. And together, we have seen polio getting this close, very close to being eradicated from the face of the earth. I think apparently only Afghanistan and Pakistan, just a few cases of polio that are still that have been reported. So that means we are doing a wonderful job when it comes to polio eradication. So if we continue giving as Rotarians in our clubs and in our district, how do we transform our gifts? How do we translate our giving into service projects? Dear Rotarians, this is optional. It's up to you as a club, as Rotarians, to make a choice whether you want to engage in global grants, if you want to engage in a district grant, if you want to engage in disaster response grants. But for everything, every single thing that we do, every single activity or program that we implement as Rotarians has to be guided by the Rotary Foundation guidelines and also our district guidelines. The Rotary Foundation has set out a lot of resources which are actually available online. Our district has also come up with supplementary guidelines to help Rotary clubs to utilize the resources the foundation has. And all these activities have to be within the 7 areas of focus. That is peace building and conflict resolution. These programs must be at least related to maternal and child health, water and sanitation, basic education and literacy, community and economic empowerment, and others. So as Rotarians, as Rotary clubs, we have a choice to participate in long-lasting and life-changing projects if we want to do much bigger or create bigger programs in our communities where we reside. One way of doing that is to participate in any of the grants that we have just mentioned. If you want, you can look at engaging your club in a district grant. And in most cases, district grants are smaller grants that are less than $30,000. These are small scale, short-term in nature that address the immediate needs that you have identified in your community or even abroad. You can also choose to participate in global grants. Many of us have heard about global grants. Most of the clubs on call have done global grants, but dear Rotarians, we also have clubs that have never participated in any single global grant. But we're also comfortable in implementing community-based projects, which of course also create impactful and meaningful changes in people and communities around us. But imagine if a Rotary club came together with other Rotary clubs to implement large international activities with sustainable, measurable outcomes in any of the Rotary areas of focus. How much impact can we create in our communities? Sometimes we are so comfortable with doing a few activities. You just wake up every morning, you give, you attend your club activities, you give as much as you can give to your club, you can give as much as you can to your foundation. But how about if we can also turn this giving into utilization? How about we come up with huge projects that we can do as Rotarians to create huge impact in the places where we live? I want us to talk a little more about global grants because our district is one of those few districts that has very good success rates in implementing global grants. In fact, most clubs in our district have been very instrumental in turning around the utilization of the foundation, especially District 9213. We write quality applications, we implement quality projects, and the impact has been vivid. The impact has been seen in places where we live, in places where we work, and also in places we go to. If you drive 10 to 15 to 30 to 100 kilometers away from your city, you should be able to see a signpost of a project that has been implemented by Rotarians. And that's amazing. So as a club, can we think about doing something bigger? I know we have done some of these bigger projects before, but can we also look at utilizing our giving that we continue to give to the foundation by implementing global grants? So global grants are humanitarian projects. We can give scholarships for graduate level academic studies, even to non-Rotarians. Global grants also support vocational training teams, groups of professionals who travel abroad to expand their professions, and also to learn. And we make this possible. Recently, the Rotary Club of Kabarore sponsored a young man to the Netherlands for a 3-year course in water and sanitation, a project that is going to cost over $35,000. This $35,000 was not all contributed by Rotarians from Rotary Club of Kabarore. No, but part of it came from the foundation. In other words, we're able to utilize part of our giving and utilize it to support this young man to go to the Netherlands to further his studies. And we never know who this young man is going to become in the next few years. He will come back and change communities using his experience, using his expertise, the skills and the knowledge that he's going to acquire from the Netherlands. So Rotarians, we can use our Rotary giving. We can use the gift that we give to the foundation and turn it around. And these opportunities have been created by the foundation and also our able leadership, led by our district governor and the Rotary Foundation chair, Rotarian Xavier, and also the district grants chair, Rotarian Nelson Kabama. They have brought, come up with better ideas to encourage clubs to come up with global grants. Even if you need a specific training related to global grants, the foundation and the district grants team has been able to do that. If you need that, you just give a call to the district grants chair, and the next week you have that training. If you need expertise on how to do it, just let the district grants team know, and they will be there to support you to do global grants. Because global grants help us to do bigger things in big ways and also in an amazing way. So global grants are funded by the foundation, and it must be at least over $30,000. So these are slightly bigger grants. $30,000, that's over 100 million Uganda shillings. And the foundation can support a global grant up to 400,000 US dollars. That's a lot of money. This is a lot of money, more than that we give as a club. The other interesting fact about global grants is that you must have other partners that you're going to work with. You cannot do a global grant in isolation. And also global grants, you can also apply for to your district for a district designated fund contribution. That means the district district Rotary Foundation Committee will match what you have given as a club towards that project, and also make a contribution towards the same project. And the foundation will make a contribution to that project. And also international partners will make a contribution to that project. So pulling these resources together from different sources makes the project much bigger. Imagine if you're going to drill one borehole. A borehole in Uganda would at least cost you about 20 million shillings to 30 million shillings. And you can do that as a club, and you will be sure that you have changed a life of a child to access clean drinking water. But also imagine you had an opportunity to write a grant and provide 20 boreholes in different communities surrounding us Rotarians. How much impact can we create? Rotarians, we have clubs in Kampala, in the north, in the west, that give so much to the foundation, that give with passion, but they don't utilize their giving. I don't want to mention names, but we can do better if we also turn that giving into bigger service programs. We can help many more children in basic education and literacy with a bigger grant than implementing this program as a standalone club. Of course, we have the resources. Of course, we do these projects, but we could also do it in a much bigger way. I want us to reflect about a few ideas, dear Rotarians. I know as a person that there are clubs that actually have fear or phobia for global grants, or even phobia to apply for a district grant, or even to participate in grants that are led by other Rotary clubs. Like, we are comfortable the way we are. We have been doing so much, and let us be. It is okay. Service is service. Projects in your communities are projects in your communities. But I want us to excite ourselves and do bigger things. And the only way we can do this is we can participate in these global grants. I don't know how you have been doing it in your clubs, but I want us to think about how we can create grants that make a difference, a bigger difference. So if we're going to develop a global grant, let's ponder about this. One, we must develop an idea, whether it's the first time to do a global grant, whether we have been doing global grants, but we have to develop an idea. We must have an interest to do this global grant, because if you want to do something bigger, there are also expectations. There must be commitment. So we must develop commitment to accomplish the task that we have set ourselves to accomplish. The second thing is, once we have the commitment and we are fully aware of the obligations, then we have to start preparing and engaging the different stakeholders. Now we want to do a global grant. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to identify the problem that we want to resolve in a certain community, or a certain community has come to us as Rotarians to help them resolve a certain problem. We have to engage the leaders in that community. We have to engage the members in that community, talk to them, sit with them, reflect together, and identify a problem that you can resolve together with them. Rotarians, we have reached a level as the foundation, as Rotarians, not just to do projects for the sake of doing them, but we want to do projects that create meaningful ownership, projects that create meaningful impact in the lives of those people that we serve. We have had situations where people sit in their offices and design projects and then roll out the project for implementation. I don't want to mention whether in government, whether in the civil society, but these things happen. But we as Rotarians must do things differently. It's better, it's ideal to meet the people that you want to help without assumptions. We must meet them, talk to them, be part of them, understand them, let them understand us, share different ideas, let them know who Rotary is, who Rotarians are, what Rotary is, so that together we can find a solution and provide a project that is going to address that problem or a multitude of problems in that community. So once we have engaged our different publics, we understand the idea that we want to put forth, we have to bring these ideas now in writing. We have to develop a concept note by bringing together the different ideas. We also have to bring out where we're going to work from. We have to also understand and note down the scope of this project, what the goals of this project are going to be, what objectives are we going to achieve in this project, what actions we want to implement to create the change that we envisage in this community, what are the likely outcomes of this project for many more years to come. And then the other idea we can reflect about is how are we going to raise the resources now? We have the interest, we have the ideas, our idea is even in writing. But how do we mobilize resources to help us realize the dream that we have with that community? That means we have to identify partners. Global grants are implemented with several clubs. You need a host Rotary club. Could be a Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak, with another Rotary club in another district. Unfortunately, this cannot be District 9214. It has to be another district. And you can also engage your district foundation team to support this project. That means you have to apply for a DDF from the district, from the DRFC. But you can also engage the international district to also support this project. So that means precisely that you need an international partner who probably will bring a lot more resources than you can bring on table. You can also engage other Rotary clubs in your district to participate in your global grant, by the way. You find you have a global grant of 10 Rotary clubs. We are even allowed to partner with Rotaract Club and do joint global grants. And you become the lead or the host Rotary Club. And you identify an international partner who's going to support this project and bring in more resources. Now, these resources that we bring together as different Rotary clubs with your partners are going to be matched by your district. Unfortunately, the Rotary Foundation right now can only match the district designated fund contribution towards your global grant. The foundation no longer matches club contribution because of the past few years, there was so much that was spent on humanitarian causes due to COVID-19. There was so much expenditures on disaster response programs across the world, and of which are justified. As a result, the foundation had to review its guidelines and can now only match the DDF contribution by 80%. But nonetheless, that's also a lot of money that will be coming back to us. And once you have identified the partners, you have identified the people you're going to collaborate with, and this could be in the private sector, the civil society, and other Rotary clubs, now we can begin the actual application. You can go online and begin your global grant application. But for you to do that, you must be a Rotarian. You must have your Rotary, you must have an account at My Rotary so that you can log in and then access these resources and begin your application. And if you want, you can do a lot of research. You can download the Word document of the global grant application form. You fill it, you study it, you fill it, you do more research. And once you're comfortable that you're ready with all your data, with all your information, you just go online and copy and paste into the online global grant application. But there are also conditions, dear Rotarians. If you want to do bigger things, there are expectations, there are obligations. They are things that we must put in place for us to be able to qualify for global grants. In other words, we have to do some bit of house cleaning. We have to do a bit of research to understand what we want to do. But one most important thing for us to be able to qualify for these global grants we are talking about, we have to qualify as a club. And I'm sure that the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak, this is not a problem. And we have seen many clubs, of course, that qualify every single year, which is a very good management practice. It's a good thing. It's healthy to qualify every single year. It makes a club healthier. But you can also benefit from from global grants when you qualify. You don't need to qualify just to get global grants. You can qualify as a good practice for any entity. So you can also use that opportunity of your qualification to apply for grants. So one important thing is that you must qualify and you must obtain a letter of qualification from your district qualification chair. That is Rotarian PAG Peter Isabidi. You must show proof that your district has qualified you to participate in global grants. And a few guidelines have been set out by our district leadership to enable clubs, put systems in place that can help clubs qualify. And then after qualifying, that's one way how you can also access the global grants. And I'm sure I'm already talking to the converted. So once you have qualified, you have your concept, you have already started your application. There is a series or a cycle on how your application is going to, the process your application is going to go through. So when you begin your application online, it will be in draft form. When your application is in draft format,
excuse me, AG.
Yes.
We're running short of time. I don't know if you can summarize this so that we do Q&A. in the next 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have 1 or 2 slides left. Thank you, President. So the draft, if your application is in draft, you have an opportunity to keep editing it. You can make changes, you can add attachments to your application and make it better. Once you're comfortable that your application is good enough, then you can submit it for authorization. The authorization is required from the District Rotary Foundation Chair. That's our PDG Xavier Sentamu. And also the project primary contact person, the club presidents for all those clubs that are involved in your application. So you need to have different officials authorizing your application. So once everyone has authorized, your application is submitted to the Rotary Foundation. Each region has the regional grants officer. For our district 9213 is I don't know whether she's a Rotarian, but is Jessica. Jessica will review your application. If she has any questions, she will ask you. And then once the foundation is comfortable, then the foundation will approve your grant, and then you will receive money to the particular or a designated project account, and then you can begin the processes of implementation. Thank you, Rotarians, for listening. I will be glad to answer any question that you might have. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, AG Milton, for taking us through the global grants and the gifting. I believe most of us here are learning most of these things now, and I believe we shall do better. At this juncture, allow me invite our PAG, James Sunyoin, to take us through the QA. James, I'll give you 2 minutes to take a few questions, but before you do that, allow me request for 15 minutes from the Sergeant at Arms to complete so that we conclude this fellowship.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Hope Creator President. And can you allow my video so that people know it's not a robot speaking? Otherwise, a very good morning to everyone. And
yes.
We are now ready for our Q&A. First of all, I want to thank Milton, AG Milton. This has been a great presentation. I hope you'll share the slides so that members can go through it again over the weekend. I'm sure our own Frederick Chitakule will obtain those slides for members. Okay, so I've not yet seen any question on the chat, but members, you are free to put up your hand and actually ask your question. I'm looking out for hands in case there is any question. We can only take 2 questions given our time limitations. Can I have the 2 questions? Okay, I've got one already from my friend George Bush from Entebbe. Why does application demand for contract with suppliers long before money is received? Milton, we have that question. Why does application process demand for a contract with the suppliers long before the money is received? That's question number 1. I think that's the question I have. I don't see any hands up unless maybe my laptop is not doing me good. Okay, I think, Milton, let's first take that first question as wait for now.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for your question. Yes, when you begin the process of applying for the global grant, like we said, there's a lot of money involved in this grant. So it's important that certain requirements are met. And one of them is that there is the procurement. you realize that for the club to be able to qualify, one of the requirements is a financial management plan or a manual that outlines financial management practices or guidelines in your club. How do you manage your finances? How do you manage procurements? The purpose of that is to make sure that there has been a fair bidding process, so that there are many vendors or service providers that have been consulted for you as a club to be able to come up with your budget. I'll give you an example. If you want to procure boreholes, or you want to procure motorcycles, or you want to implement to rehabilitate our maternity ward, you should be able to come up with a competitive or reasonable budget. But most of us Rotarians are not necessarily engineers or civil engineers, and sometimes we have different professions. I could be a farmer, I could be a businessman, and I have no background knowledge or understanding about civil works. So the assumption is that we must rely on the knowledge and skills of qualified vendors to give us an overview of how much the project or how much that project is going to cost. So if we have a budget, that budget must be informed from that technical point of view, that if your budget is 100 million to renovate a maternity ward, that money should be sufficient, but also it should be competitive in terms of market rates, that it's going to be sufficient. The 100 million is going to be sufficient, is not too much, is also not too low. So that we have a reasonable budget, because at the end of the day, we are accountable. We don't want to have a budget is outrageous or a smaller budget that will not help us meet our goal of renovating this maternity ward, for example. So the reason why the foundation emphasizes that you must go through the bidding process is to create a situation where you have your budget that is informed or based on research about what you want to do. But it also emphasizes that you cannot have memorandum of understanding. You can have a memorandum of understanding with the selected bidder, but until the funds have been committed. So it's a process that we just, the foundation wants to make sure that your bidding process has been fair and the bidders have been selected by a committee or by your club board, and also the club assembly or the Rotarians in your club have been informed. And then you have a budget that is competitive in terms of market rates. And of course, we want to make sure that we don't just have budgets which we are just estimating offhand. We just want to make sure that we have budgets that are informed by people who understand the nature of project that we are going to be implementing. And the good thing is that once funds have been committed, you can review the MOU with the vendor that you selected, and also you are allowed to commit up to 10% for contingency in case things have changed in terms of prices. So I think precisely that's how I can advise, yes.
Thank you, Milton, for that. So our last two questions are, one, why does application, how long does it take from submitting to when the grant is approved? How long does it take from submission of the application until it is approved? That's one. The second one, that's from Cooper, from Kampala South. Then there's the second, I think there was another question. If an application, if in an application you admit potential conflict of interest, what is the repercussion? That's from my president again, my friend again, George Bush from Entebbe. If in application you admit potential conflict of interest, what is the repercussion? He wants to know the repercussion of that. Those are the last questions we're taking. There's a hand up, but that was for Cooper. I've already read out his question. So just handle those two and I hand over back to the president. We've run out of time.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. Yes, the process, the application process is not quite long, but when you submit your application to the district grants chair, your application should not take more than a month before it's reviewed. Because we receive so many applications and we review them on first come basis. Whatever comes in first, then it's reviewed first. However, the challenge we have seen is that most clubs delay to send us the applications for review, or even if the district review sends you feedback, the district grants team sends you feedback, asking some questions, clubs take longer to reply or to respond. And we have also seen that some clubs, they become so lazy and they feel like it's too much and so many questions have been asked. But once you send your application to the district grants team for review, we want to make your application better and make it more competitive so that it's able to create lasting impact when we implement it. And also it helps you, once the project application is submitted, there are fewer questions that will come from Jessica, our regional grants chair, our regional grants officer, who is based in Evanston. So she will not have so many questions to ask. She will probably have zero. If you answer and follow the guidelines from the district grants committee, you will have your application approved at least within 3 months, unless if you don't provide feedback on time. That should be quite a faster process, especially from the district grants team. It doesn't take long. Then okay. The other question is...
the other one was, if you admit potential conflict of interest, what is the repercussion? So
Dear Rotarians, when you're applying, there's a section where they ask you to reveal if there is any perceived conflict of interest. A perceived conflict of interest is where you find a Rotarian is the vendor or is the service provider, or a Rotarian is a member or a staff of a cooperating organization, or a vendor is involved in a project, the company that is going to provide the services is a director or a member of that team. And the thing is, just declare there is a form you have to fill and say, I am a Rotarian and I am a staff or a director of this company that has been selected to provide a certain service, and also explain how you're going to minimize the conflict of interest. If you don't declare your conflict of interest and tomorrow it's found out that there was potential conflict of interest, it could lead to the cancellation of the project or the grant. 2, it could lead to the cancellation of the Rotary Club. It can be banned from participating in any future global grants. It can also lead to banning the Rotarian who is involved from being a Rotarian permanently. So we have so much to lose just instead of just declaring our conflict. And dear Rotarians, let me also emphasize the fact that if a Rotarian has a company that can provide competitive rates to a certain project, and you have gone through a normal bidding process, and his company has been successfully selected, not based on reasons or scorecards that you have set aside, a Rotarian is also allowed to get business. But that conflict of interest must be declared and also show how it's going to be minimized and make sure that it was not based on, corruption or bribery or just being a Rotarian to get business. So it's better that you declare. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Milton. Most appreciated. Thank you so much for the responses that you provided, and certainly this presentation has been very, very insightful, and I'm sure that the Rotarians and Rotaractors and guests on call will start converting our giving into club service projects so that we can create impact and alleviate the suffering in the communities around us and around the world. Thank you very much, and back to you, Hope Creator President Dorothy.
Thank you so much, PAG James, for taking us through the Q&A, and I must believe we've gotten the understanding of how to benefit from the global grants and the requirements that we need to put together to qualify for global grants. Thank you so much, AG Milton, for taking us through this. In the interest of time, allow me invite Rotarian William to give a vote of thanks. Rotarian William, are you there? Rotarian Yerusa, please take on the vote of thanks. Can I be heard?
President, you are heard. And since Rotarian Yerusa is not coming through, and I am a Salongo nominee designate, allow me to take the privilege with all humility to move a vote of thanks to Changemaker President and AG to Singwire Milton. You know, friends, but the saying that it is more blessed to give than to receive. We give a lot to the Rotary Foundation, but also we need to, it is not a one-sided coin. We need to turn the flip side and see how best can we benefit from what we are giving. And indeed, it is not easy to understand how do we turn this giving, this contribution that we give, especially the message is home and dry for us as Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak. I know that our utilization does not reciprocate our giving. What am I saying? We have given more, we have contributed more, but the utilization is where I think as a club, to be honest, we need to do a little more. And thank you very, very, very much, A.G. Milton, for demystifying the processes and procedures and protocols, plannings and preparations and assessment and everything that we need to know. I believe that with this kind of insightful presentation and sharing you have given us this morning, we not only as the Rotary Club of Kampala Daybreak, but the entire Rotary fraternity will be able to engage and be able to get to utilize and turn the giving to the TRF into club service projects. I thank you, and it is in order that we unmute. And since the Mbaga ya Mwinemu is near, we can combine the two and give a befitting Lusoga Uluru to our guest speaker. Thank you. Over to you, President.
Yeah, thank you, AG, for giving a vote of thanks to your fellow AG. I am amazed by that, and thank you for inviting AG Milton to come and present to us. It won't leave us the same. I believe most of us have now changed our mindset and our thinking about global grants. Thank you so much. And in the interest of time, can I give Rotarian Yedi to give us statistics in 2 minutes?
Thank you, President. Good morning, Rotarians, Rotaractors, and guests on call. At the at the peak of the business, we had over 128 that logged in. We had 52 clubs. We had 5 Rotaract clubs. We had 25 daybreakers online. We had 2 guests by the name of Michi and Evelyn Ogwal. Yes, my President, that's it from this end. Thank you very much to everyone who logged in. And it's all praises for Assistant Governor Milton for your wonderful presentation in the chat room. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Back to you, President.
Thank you, Rotarian Yedi, for the statistics. You'll be advised on the chat room, on the details. In case your club has not been mentioned in the chat room, please inform us. At this juncture, I invite Rotarian Irene to give us the final toss.
Thank you so much, I hope Creator President, for the opportunity. For the informative talk we've had of transforming TRF gifts into club service project by A.G. Milton. Let's all toast Rotary International.
Rotary world over. Okay. Over. Thank you. I thank you everyone for attending, all the district officials who managed to dial in, all the HCPs in the house, all the guests in the house. You're most welcome, and thank you. Continue joining Daybreak every Thursday. I thank you so much. I call this Rotary Fellowship to a close. Thank you. Do we have any questions for Echimeza?
Rotary is over.
Rotary is well over. You're welcome. If there are any questions, we can ask in Echimeza. Milton, if you have some little time, please stay on for some 5 minutes in Echimeza. Okay.
Hope Creator President, let me also start traveling to town and make some money to give to the Rotary Foundation. So
Thank you for taking us
into service.
Yeah, we have to turn this gifting into service projects.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I would have loved an update from A.G. Frederick on where we are on the global grant.
Rotarian Frederick, any updates?
Now, which one? I know we have many global grants. I don't know which one, but I give an update that I gave again last time.
The biggest 2 applications.
Okay. The biggest one, I think, like A.G. Milton substantiated, and I must say, having had an opportunity to go through the verification process by our district grants committee, I can confirm and appreciate that I feel that once they have flagged you off, it is pretty much most unlikely that your grant will not be approved by Rotary International. And what does that mean? That they really turn around your grant, ensure that all the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed. In other words, there is nothing that an RI official will want to see that is not available in the grant. By this, it means that the review process really, he puts it simple. If you have everything, you can, it doesn't take time. But the fact of the matter is some things could require some time. For example, if you seek an MOU with the partnering organization, it can be a process. In our case, we have to have an MOU with the Ministry of Education because we're into the space of education. For the people that have had an opportunity to engage with public services, especially the Ministry of Education, you could understand what it would mean to have an MOU with the Ministry of Education. It's not turnkey, it's a process. But I'm glad and grateful to say that at least we are on that hurdle. But I think we are on the almost a final review. We had only 2-3 comments from the team. My hope is that we will be able to get flagged off in the soonest time possible. Now, but also the fact that ours is not a club global grant, but rather a district global grant, it involves quite an array of Rotary clubs. And therefore, there are also requirements in that regard that, like he said, some clubs are paid differently. I hope you understand what I mean. While Kampala Daybreak might be paced at a different pace, at a slow pace, maybe Rotary Club of Kabarore could be faster. So that kind of thing can also cause some bit of delay. But all the partnering clubs at least are moving well. So I hope that in the shortest time possible, we should be able to get done and dusted. The other global grant, I think that one, the only thing remaining.
How big is the first? How big is the first one?
When you say how big, what do you mean in terms of money?
Yes, in terms of money. And the participating clubs.
$380,000. And the participating clubs.
President, I'm back. If you have any question, I'm back. Sorry, I was on call.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, no problem. So there are many clubs. There are over, I think, local. We have around 18. International, there are so far 4. So that 360,000. Depending, can even go higher depending on the DDF we can be able to get from our district and change under AG Milton. That is always my pain point. How do we grow our district designated fund? Because it really has a very significant contribution it makes by way of contribution by RI. That is it. The other global grant, I think President is better placed. We are remaining with remitting only our contribution. It is a grant that involves over 21 clubs, 14 local, 14 local here and 7 international. It is going to be in Chenjojo, Utiti, to be specific. It is a $210,000 global grant. I beg to submit. Thank you, AG. PAG James.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, AG Frederick. That's a very good update. And thank you, President. And back to you.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome back, AG Milton. Is there any question for AG Milton?
Maybe we can just get a final words from AG Milton and we close.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, President. Thank you, Rotarians, for hosting me. But next time, please give me some time. AG called me last evening at night. AG, I think the sergeant is supposed to charge you, AG Frederick. Yeah.
Apologies for that.
AG Frederick, you owe
when I used to be a scout, they used to say, be prepared. So you have to be ready.
One thing I know, once a change maker, you're prepared. When you're a change maker, you're prepared on a microsecond notice.
Yeah.
And he has proved that.
I understand where you're coming from. Some of the things we need to prepare for them early. But again, for me, I would like to take the positive angle. I would like to sincerely appreciate you for your humility and great flexibility. I know that you had actually a district meeting for grants today at 7 a.m. I knew that very well when I was calling you. But you were able to make adjustment and make time and give us priority. Thank you very much for that flexibility, but above all, that humility. It's not on a daily basis that you encounter such kind of humility and service above self. Thank you very, very much. And like my friends say, next time better.
Yeah. And, global grants are, extensive. You need to discuss them extensively because, this was nothing. You need to have a specific session. If you are interested in global grants, you can have a specific session to discuss on how the nitty-gritties and how we can get started. But it's important that we get started with global grants. It gives us a huge visibility as Rotary. Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We are going to constitute a committee. Then we shall engage you to present to the committee.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think with this, allow me bring these fellowships to a close. We can adjourn. Have a nice weekend. Be blessed.
Thank you. God bless you too.
Bye-bye.